You are watching democracy die in real time. Right now, this very minute, armed federal agents are being mobilized to surround polling stations across America. ICE agents, immigration enforcement, at your voting booth. And Trump can't do a damn thing to stop it because he's the one ordering it. Steve Bannon just went on record. Quote, "We're going to have ICE surround the polls come November." That's not speculation. That's not tabloid drama. That's a promise. From the man who still has the president's ear. Let me be clear about what you're watching. This is the setup for the biggest election theft in American history, and it's happening in plain sight. While the mainstream media obsesses over Trump's latest Twitter rants, threatening Canada with tariffs, descending every plane built north of the border, they're completely missing the actual story. The real story isn't what Trump is threatening, it's what his allies just pulled off in front of the entire world. On Tuesday, February 4th, Steve Bannon stood in front of a microphone and said this: "You're damn right we're going to have ICE surround the polls come November. We're not going to sit here and allow you to steal the country again." 2 earthquakes, 72 hours apart. And the timing tells you everything about coordination. Before you dismiss this as cable news speculation, let me be clear about what I'm going to show you. Court filings, public record, Supreme Court orders, not anonymous sources, not insider rumors, documents you can verify yourself. Here's what just became legally binding. 24 hours before Bannon made that statement, President Trump told a podcast host that Republicans should, quote, "nationalize the voting in at least 15 states. 15, he said it out loud, on tape, in the Oval Office. Then Bannon follows up 48 hours later with the ICE threat. This isn't random. This is a plan. Now here's where this gets truly dangerous. Under the United States Constitution, elections are run by states, not the federal government. That's not opinion. That's Article 1, Section 4. The founders specifically designed it this way to prevent exactly what Trump is proposing, a federal takeover. But Trump doesn't care about the Constitution. He said it himself on Tuesday. Quote, "If a state can't run an election, I think the people behind me should do something about it." The people behind me. He's talking about Republican lawmakers. He's talking about federal agents. He's talking about taking control by force if necessary. And then he said this, and I want you to hear these exact words. These people were brought to our country to vote, and they vote illegally. Amazing that the Republicans aren't tougher on it. He's talking about immigrants. He's claiming, with zero evidence, that millions of illegal votes are being cast. The same lie he told in 2020, the same lie that led to January 6th. But this time, he's not just tweeting about it. He's deploying federal agents. Steve Bannon didn't stop at ICE. He went further. He said Trump should call up the 82nd Airborne Division, the 101st Airborne Division, active duty military, under the Insurrection Act. You've got to get around every poll and make sure only people with IDs vote, Bannon said. Let me translate that for you. He wants armed soldiers at your polling station, checking IDs, deciding who gets to vote and who doesn't. Now, the White House tried to spin this. White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles went on Fox News and said Trump would never do that. She said under the Constitution, states run elections, not the federal government. Great. Except Trump himself contradicted her the next day. A reporter asked him directly, "Mr. President, do you believe the federal government should run elections?" Trump's answer, "I don't know why the federal government doesn't do them anyway. If you think about it, a state is an agent for the federal government in elections." That is not true. States are not agents of the federal government. They are sovereign entities with their own constitutional authority. This is Civics 101. But Trump either doesn't know that or doesn't care. And here's the scariest part. Republican senators are pushing back, and Trump doesn't care. Senate Majority Leader John Thune, a Republican, said he's not in favor of federalizing elections. He called it a constitutional issue. Senator Tom Tillis, a Republican, said ICE at polling places could have a chilling effect on Hispanic voters. Even U.S. citizens who are legally registered might stay home because they're afraid of being detained. But Trump is still moving forward. Here's what most people don't understand. What Bannon is proposing is already illegal. Under federal law, it is a crime to deploy armed federal agents at polling places. The only exception is if there's an armed insurrection, an actual violent uprising. There is no insurrection. There is no violence. There is just an election that Trump wants to control. The Brennan Center for Justice, one of the most respected voting rights organizations in the country, put out a statement this week. They said deploying ICE to polling places would violate multiple state and federal laws. It would constitute voter intimidation, which is a federal crime under the Voting Rights Act. It would violate the Posse Comitatus Act, which prohibits using federal troops for domestic law enforcement, and it would violate the First Amendment, which protects the right to vote without government interference. But here's the problem. Who's going to stop him? Trump controls the Justice Department. He controls ICE. He controls the Department of Homeland Security. And he's made it very clear he doesn't care what the law says. And we're already seeing this play out in real time. Last month, Trump sent ICE agents into Minnesota, a swing state. One of the 15 states he said Republicans should take over. Those agents killed 2 people during raids, shot them. No trial, no due process, just execution. And then Trump did something even more brazen. He demanded that Minnesota hand over its voter rolls, the entire database of registered voters, to the federal government. Minnesota refused. And Trump threatened to pull ICE agents out of the state unless they complied. Think about what that means. Trump is using federal law enforcement as a bargaining chip. Give me your voter data, or I'll withdraw security. That's not governance. That's extortion. And now Bannon is saying ICE will surround the polls in November, in Minnesota, in Georgia, in Pennsylvania, anywhere Trump lost in 2020. Democratic Senator Mark Warner said it best. He called this a red alert moment. Quote, "We have to start working to protect polling places from Trump's paramilitary ICE goons before it's too late." Paramilitary ICE goons. That's a sitting U.S. senator describing federal law enforcement under Trump. But here's what you need to understand. This isn't just about 2026. This is about every election from now on. If Trump succeeds in deploying ICE to polling places in November and Republicans win, he will claim it proves the system works. He'll say voter fraud was stopped. He'll expand the program. And if Democrats win anyway, Trump will claim the election was rigged. He'll refuse to accept the results. He'll call for more federal intervention, more troops, more agents. Either way, American elections will never be the same. This is not politics. This is not partisan spin. This is a constitutional crisis. The President of the United States is openly calling for federal control of elections. His chief strategist is calling for armed agents at polling places, and Republican senators are too afraid to stop him. The only people who can stop this now are voters. And if ICE agents are standing outside polling places in November, how many voters will even show up? You are watching the end of free and fair elections in America. Steve Bannon said it himself. ICE will surround the polls. Trump said it himself. Republicans should nationalize voting. This is not a drill. This is happening. Subscribe to Daniel Brooks Reports. Share this video, because the mainstream media will not tell you this story until it's too late. This is Daniel Brooks. Stay awake.